Hi, I'm Esty. Welcome back to this study on attention as prayer. We're remembering that God is already here. We are invited to notice. Throughout this study, we've been learning practices of attention as prayer, ways of becoming more aware of God's presence with us. Today, I want to talk about something that's very ordinary and very human when we try to do this, and that is praying with distractions. What do you do when you sit down to pray and your mind just will not settle? Maybe you're trying to focus, and instead your thoughts are jumping all over the place, to a to-do list, to a conversation that you need to have, to something that doesn't even matter very much. All these distractions can be frustrating. And if this happens to you, no, you're not crazy and you are not alone. There's a story in the Gospel of Luke about a woman named Martha who was distracted by a lot of things, and her distraction led to her getting irritated and frustrated. The story goes that Martha welcomes Jesus into her home. And in her culture, that kind of hospitality came with some big expectations. Martha needed to prepare food, offer water, make sure Jesus and his friends were cared for. And these were good things, important things. But while Martha is busy doing all of this, her sister Mary does something unexpected. Instead of helping with the preparations, Mary sits at Jesus' feet, listening to him like a disciple would. Martha keeps working. She glances at Mary. She clears her throat. She tries to catch Mary's eye, but Mary seems to be completely absorbed. She has eyes only for Jesus. And Martha's just working away, and eventually she reaches the breaking point. She interrupts Jesus, something that you would not do in those days. And Martha says, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself?" Jesus responds gently, but clearly, "Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part." Jesus recognizes Martha's distraction. The word that he uses that we translate as distraction carries a sense of being pulled or dragged in different directions. Jesus identifies this feeling of having too much to do, that feeling is not the best part. What is better is to focus on only one thing, he says. I think it's really important to highlight that Jesus isn't shaming Martha. He's not dismissing her work or her care for him. Instead, he's inviting her in this moment to set the distractions down and to be present with him. It's as if Jesus is saying, "Martha, there will be a time for all of that. But right now, I'm inviting you to be here now with me." Like Martha, we are worried and distracted by many things. When we try to pray, our minds are often busy, noisy places. And Jesus' invitation to us is to not force the distractions away, but to gently return to the one thing, to being present with Christ. This is where a simple practice can help. It's a practice that I call acknowledging thoughts. You may also hear this practice called non-judgmental observing or meta-awareness. There's different words for it, but the idea is simple. Thoughts are going to arise when we're praying. We're going to get distracted, and that's not a failure. It's just how the human brain works. And instead of getting frustrated with ourselves that we can't stay focused, what we do is we acknowledge the thought and we let it move on by. Instead of struggling to be peaceful and prayerful, we just recognize that our minds are going to be distracted. We don't fight it. When a distracting thought comes, we recognize it and we let it go. We give ourselves grace, knowing that thoughts and emotions are going to bubble up. And when they do, we don't have to chase after them. We can let them go and return our focus to the one thing, to being present with Christ. Here's a way that I often picture how this happens. In our house, we have a window that faces the street. We have a dog who loves to be at this window and bark at anything that moves by people who walk by the neighbor's cat, by squirrels. Every movement outside the window demands my dog's attention, and she wants to chase it. But when we are praying, we don't have to bark at every thought that passes through our minds. Thoughts will walk by just like people on the sidewalk. We can't stop them from appearing, but we can choose how we relate to them. We can acknowledge them and let them pass without running after them. Learning to do this acknowledging thoughts and letting them go, it also loosens the grip of shame that we have around being distracted in prayer. I think that a lot of people think they are bad at prayer. They're not good at it because their minds wander. We tell ourselves, I shouldn't be thinking about this. I should be praying. Why can't I focus? I must be doing it wrong. And eventually, that might lead you to give up, to stop praying. But this practice of acknowledging our thoughts frees us from that kind of judgment. Again, when a thought arises, you don't berate yourself. You don't quit. You just notice and gently return your attention to God. A common way to practice this is called the river of thoughts. Imagine yourself sitting beside a river, water is flowing steadily past you. When a thought comes up, you imagine placing the thought on a leaf floating on the water. You see it, but you don't pick it up. You don't analyze it. You don't engage with it. You let it drift away. You can use this river of thought kind of technique with any of the prayers that we've talked about in this study, with breath prayer, or the prayer of examen, or Lectio Divina, or praying with your body. In all of those prayers, distractions are going to come, but you don't have to engage with them. You can see them on a leaf floating down a river and just let them go. Praying with distractions doesn't mean eliminating the distractions. It's about changing our relationship to them. Attention as prayer is not about having perfect focus, having no thoughts but God. Really, it's just about gentle returning, because your mind is going to wander. And each time you notice that your attention is somewhere else, you just practice coming back. Come back to your breath, back to your body, back to God. That in itself is prayer. And over time, this way of praying changes us. It shapes us. We become more patient, less reactive, more compassionate with ourselves and with other people. And importantly, we learn that nothing, not even our wandering minds, can separate us from the presence of God. As we close this final session, I invite you to carry this with you. God is already here. We are invited to notice, not just in silence or in perfect stillness, but even in the midst of distraction, even in the middle of ordinary scattered days. May you learn to return again and again to the one who is always waiting for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this final session in the Attention as Prayer study. If you're watching this video with a small group, I invite you to download the small group discussion guide on my website, realizegrace.com. Have conversation, talk together about what distraction looks like in your prayer life, what you heard in this study, what techniques or practices you want to try as a result, how you are noticing God's presence with you. God bless you. Thank you for joining me, and peace be with you.